What is up, y'all? It's the Hyperdrive Hour people. I think that's what we are. We haven't gone through the
That's like a
rebrand
good
yet.
place.
Um, uh, we're talking about the original trilogy because we got nothing better to do. It's justice. One of you guys can choose to introduce yourself. You can figure out the order.
I'll
Have fun.
go. Howdy, folks. My name is Marin, also known as Sick Doctor Art on all socials, and I'm here to talk about the OG trilogy.
Earlier they said OT trilogy and didn't
I
want to
did
fess up
not.
to it.
They did. It was funny.
I said OG. My mic is just shit.
You say that, but we have the same mic.
you
I don't use that one anymore because it doesn't work.
you aren't
Sounds like a
beating
skill issue.
the OT
Is
trilogy allegations.
I might as well go next then. Hello, I'm Sonata. I don't have any socials I'm willing to share with you.
Thank you. That was very, yeah.
very concise,
Um,
laconic, even.
who's next?
My name is mine. You can't have it.
Damn it! I was gonna steal it.
I'll tell you it though. My name's Donovan. Much to my chagrin.
Hey.
Mine now.
No, but I
Nah,
didn't give
Donovan
you my
followed
name.
payrolls.
I didn't give you my name. I just told you it.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, but I'm not asking. I'm taking. I'm taking your name.
Anyways, are we gonna talk about Star Wars?
What's
No.
that?
OG trilogy. Or are we just gonna start with A New Hope and then go from there? We
No,
did
I
not
plan on
structure
starting
this at
with
all.
Star Wars, actually. No, we didn't structure it. We didn't pick our topic until yesterday.
Hush, they're not
Yeah,
supposed to know that.
They
that's
don't know when
fine.
yesterday is. Well, they know
How
it's
can they
yesterday.
possibly know that yesterday was November the 14th of 2023?
Aren't you?
Um,
How could I do what? I haven't done anything.
if we
You're
stretch the
lying.
recording out long enough, we can make yesterday November the 15th.
We could. That would, in fact, only be 2 hours and 20 minutes. 20 minutes of recording. That's not
I
nice.
just had a stroke.
Star
Anyways, A
Wars,
New Hope.
Star
Let's
Wars.
just start with A New Hope.
It is a period of civil
New Hope.
war.
Is it?
We're just gonna read the entire script.
This is, in fact, the one movie that I didn't watch today. Donovan, helmet, because I think you watched it. We're talking about R5.
Oh, we're going straight into R5?
I don't know.
I did only watch the first, like I only watched like 2/3 of the movie, because then I came to the realization that, oh shit, I accidentally skipped a class. The wonders of watching a movie while you eat lunch and getting completely distracted by the movie.
That's our review of episode 4.
Yep. So
More.
funny thing. I think I've ended up mentioning it to all of you. Like 20 minutes in, there's already a continuity issue. This movie would not have survived if it was released today.
That's any of the movies, though.
Good old, the good old funny little droid, the red one whose name escapes me again.
R5?
R5. R5 gets purchased. Rolls off with Luke. Motivator explodes. Cut back to R2 screaming, "Hey, pick me, pick me." And you can see in the background of the shot R5. We cut back. The Jawas are carting R5 away from Luke. We also know that there weren't any other astromech droids in that batch that was being offered by the Jawas.
I can't believe R5 explored Mandalore just for you to forget his name.
Yeah.
How dare you, Donovan?
Very easily.
Little
I forgot
homie
there
was
was anything about exploring, man.
uh,
Oh right, that's the season of the Mandalorian. I tried to forget.
yeah.
I forget. Was that before or after Jack Black?
That was
That
before.
was
That was like 3 episodes
Oh
in.
wait, that was no. Yeah, you're right. That was before because he was saved by Bo-Katan and bullshit.
Right. Yeah, that was like episode 2, wasn't it?
Yeah. Why
Anyway,
did they?
yeah.
Why did they feel the need to bring R5 back?
Yeah. I was gonna ask that since because I had that pop into my head. What's your guys' opinions? Because it's especially prominent in the original trilogy with them retroactively like taking really minor characters and throwing a shit ton of backstory on them. I like because they do it a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like, oh my god, Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
So my take is, they had to pay for Lizzo and Jack Black somehow, so why not just reuse the prop they already have?
Do you really think they had the original R5 from
No, that
76 when they filmed it?
Locked up at Lucas.
Oh yeah, almost certainly that they don't. But they have access to all the digital assets and shit already. They didn't have to remake anything for it.
Man, if it's locked up at LucasArts, LucasArts, they don't exist anymore. Lucasfilm wouldn't. I was gonna say, wouldn't Lucasfilm have access to that to make Star Wars?
Well, obviously it does, but like they're not gonna fucking fish through. Jesus Christ, so many years of props and shit just to find the
fish through Jesus Christ.
Basically, they didn't have to spend the money designing something new.
Yeah.
It was just a cost-cutting measure, I think, that has resulted in this stupid-ass, literally broken droid.
Yeah.
But becoming relatively important.
To be fair, he didn't do much on Mandalore. He got beat up by one of the off-brand whippets.
No, but Justice is right. They do they did that with Boba. They made him more important. I'm trying to think of who they made Pelion more important.
Pelion wasn't. Not Pelion.
Not Pelion.
No, Pelion. Yularen. Yeah. I think Yularen's especially like an interesting case because it's like, here's just kind of this random guy, and I think they had named him something different before retroactively, and even before the Clone Wars or anything prequels. Then they had made him Yularen, like they had then given him a name, and then they took him and used him for the Clone Wars. I think there's a line to walk with it. I didn't hate seeing R5 in like The Mandalorian when R5 was with Pelion. It was kind of like, yeah, obviously this woman's kind of fucking broke. So while Luke got the good ass droid, she was stuck buying the one that had a blown motivator and somehow fixed it up. Yeah, I didn't hate that. But and I don't know that I hate Yularen either. Although sometimes I wonder how the characterization works. But I don't know, because Legends is more guilty of this than Canon is, I think. Although Canon does do their certain point of view books. They've done 2 of them now. One for maybe they've done 3. Have they done one for each original trilogy movie? Where they kind of just pick like a random background fucking bot NPC looking guy and write a story about him. Might have done 3 of them.
In episode 6.
They released a whole book within the last few months about Episode 6. Because I do believe they've done A Certain Point of View, A New Hope, A Certain Point of View,
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back, and now Return of the Jedi.
A Certain Point of View, Return.
Yeah. Because Legends, there's like lore for like 90. The fucking stormtrooper who bonked his head has backstory now. Like,
Please tell me it's the same stormtrooper that Tarkin was sexting over a mouse droid.
yeah, I don't know. But it's like, at what point is it too much? Like,
Yeah. I don't know. Like, it's nice to see like your favorite, Glup Shido, whoever, like be brought back for a little bit. But then again, when does it draw the line between expanding a character and fan service? Or can it can be both. I think with Boba Fett it's both. But I think R5 was just kind of fan service. Like that could have been any droid and the story would be no different.
well, I know we're talking about the original trilogy, but we're gonna divert into the Mandalorian for a second to run with that point, because they do it several times.
Quite a few times, like the Naboo Starfighter as well.
The Naboo Starfighter.
I don't like it.
Cobb Vanth driving a part of Anakin's pod racer.
Oh.
Yep, his speeder's one of the engines.
And it's like there's a fine line. The N1 Starfighter, it doesn't. I feel like it doesn't fit the character, but I don't hate them introducing it because it is just a ship. If you tried to sit down and tell me it was the one that Anakin used to blow up the Trade Federation ship, well, then I'd just be, all right, this is just fucking unreasonable. But
yeah.
I don't hate the idea of, oh, here's an N1. The Anakin speeder is kind of like, oh, okay now, especially because it's the guy who has Boba Fett's armor. It's like, I don't know. It was just, this was an interesting little side tangent that I thought of because of the fact that R5 is expanded upon.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like you said, the Starfighter, the Naboo Starfighter in and of itself is not like a bad thing. I just feel like Din Djarin was the worst character to give it to. Like the Razor Crest, I miss the Razor Crest so fucking much. That was just Din Djarin's ship. That would be like taking the Millennium Falcon away from Han Solo. That's exactly what they did.
They did, remember?
It was.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they did. But Han Solo actively gave it to them as well. Afterwards, like after everything happened. He's also dead. Well, Anakin is too. But
well, no, I was thinking more, about that 30-year time gap where he lost it and then had to find it again in The Force Awakens.
Yeah,
that's the wrong franchise, or that's the right franchise, wrong trilogy.
Trilogy.
A New Hope. Story-wise, is really basic. Literally your most basic fantasy plot ever. Very interesting, though.
Very typical hero's journey. Still really good, though.
I think... Go ahead, Sonata. You have not talked much. I do not want to talk over you.
I was just going to say, my favorite little fact about A New Hope is that the version we got is supposed to be the version that was salvaged by George Lucas's wife, I believe, at the time. Because the original cut, so far as we've been told, would have crashed and burned the whole series.
Oh, unsurprisingly.
Well, he's not the greatest director. he's a good creative mind, I think, for the
He's a
most part.
good idea guy.
He does ideas well. But I think, and this kind of jumps ahead a little, I think the original trilogy is a really good example of why we don't let George Lucas direct movies. We just let him, kind of write plot treatments for them.
Yeah.
You let Kirshner or Marquand take the wheel, and Empire and Return of the Jedi are so much better for it. But yes, it is said that his wife is very much responsible for Star Wars being a good movie. She,
Bless her for it.
yeah, well, wife at the time, I guess. I do not think they're together anymore.
I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder what George intended for some of the things that when he's like writing in random lines and he like references the Clone Wars, and it's like,
Yeah.
I wonder when he wrote that in there, I wonder what he was picturing it as, because I doubt it's obviously what we got in terms of, because that was
we already have like. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say that was the big question from 1977 to 2002. Is what the hell were the Clone Wars? And everybody took their own shot at it if they were referencing it all, like Timothy Zahn's interpretation of it. Really that was one of the most interesting things about reading the Heir to the Empire series, was seeing him take a guess at like some of those events that were set out, and nothing, because you have so little information beyond the Jedi fought in it, really.
And for the longest time, people kind of considered Zahn's version to be like the most likely scenario.
Then Karen Travis came in, wrote the Republic Commando series, and then Dave Filoni looked at that series, picked up the books, and just tossed them into a fire.
Well, it's not even that. It's George Lucas went,
Yeah.
hey, here's Attack of the Clones. Here's
Yeah.
the clones are the good guys. Because nobody thought they were.
Because I don't know much. I know like absolutely nothing about Timmy Zahn's.
Essentially, Zahn put forth the idea that there were some cloners that just unleashed a clone army on the galaxy, and that like the Jedi fought them. Because Pelion has a line where he talks about how he's kind of distrusting and fearful of clones because they were insane and crazy on the field of battle when he fought them as a Republic officer. And so it was widely assumed that they fought the Republic, not that the Republic used them to fight. That's the really distilled version. That, and it was like 30 years before it actually was. Like, it was supposed to be like 50 years before Heir to the Empire. The Clone War happened. So yeah, no, it's really interesting to kind of put yourself in the mindset, though, of like, you sit down and you watch A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, and you're like, I wonder what it was like to experience this when there was no other Star Wars content. In a vacuum, you only have guesses at what these extra events were. And I think even in the first movie, this is one of the things George Lucas does well when writing it, is like, he builds an interesting world, and it's an interesting fantasy world where it's very clear that like, you don't need a lot of like rules. They're not constantly worrying about fuel or the specifics of these things. Sound isn't muted in space, which is one of my favorite ones to bring up. Because
Oh, fuck yeah.
realism doesn't matter. There's a sense of groundedness to it, which is important. From prop design to just general set design.
God, how fucking
But
boring all those fucking space battles would be if it was just
yeah,
silence and then occasionally
There's
ouch.
there's an edit on YouTube that
Yeah.
portrays the space battles of Star Wars as realistically as possible, and sometimes it is a bit of a slog to get through.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no, and yeah, that's kind of my big thing for A New Hope is it sets up I mean, it's a really simple story, but it's a really creative kind of retelling of your classical fantasy, young gallant knight saves the pretty princess from the dark evil castle and the dark evil wizard.
It's the hero's journey, the hero of many faces monomyth. It's pretty
Yeah.
standard,
Yeah.
but this iteration of it's well constructed.
Exactly. I
With
on it like
certain caveats.
yeah. I feel like I mean I don't know. A New Hope is just like a solid movie. Everything that's already been said about A New Hope has just been said.
Yeah. Um,
I will point out a second issue that I found with the movie. This is really nitpicking, but for the gag that Justice is in on, I'm gonna run with it anyway. On the Death Star, Vader's talking to Mott. The huge meeting where Tarkin's like, "Oh, they got rid of the Senate."
mhm.
While
I think it's
Vader's
Mati.
talking,
Yeah.
you can hear his respirator still going.
Yeah.
Like he's speaking, and you can hear him breathing in.
Yep.
I mean,
It's
if you want to go down the line of nitpicks, there's the one that Mark Hamill pointed out while filming the movie. That's that they get out of the trash compactor and are immediately dry.
Yeah.
And
There's also the point where Luke gets out of his X-wing and he calls Leia Carrie. Or he just calls Carrie Fisher by her name.
And I mean, the only reason that Donovan and I kind of brought this up was because the level of scrutiny that people give like Disney Star Wars content is crazy. And this is why I will posit that none of these movies would have been well received today. Like some of them weren't like initially well received by fans. Like, Empire Strikes Back, it had its haters. So did Return of the Jedi. The
Still
Ewoks
does in some
especially.
circles.
Yeah.
I maintain what I said to Justice. You could not make Star Wars today.
Yep.
Yeah.
A New Hope would not have worked if you released it in 2023 for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, the closest I think something has gotten to the zeitgeist that is Star Wars within recent memory would be Game of Thrones.
Yeah, and
I don't like the silence.
look where that went.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I played that, especially with Return of the Jedi, because Donovan and I watched it together earlier. I was very nitpicky, just for the sake of being nitpicky. It's my favorite movie, but my God, are there some issues with it? But that's jumping ahead. Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, get that ESB.
Yeah,
Yes,
My favorite.
it sets an interesting tone, I think. Like, you can already tell that, like, all right, we've done a cliche fantasy movie. Now let's mix it up a little, because Hoth is a loss. There's some people blowing up. We gutted a Tauntaun.
Rip.
As I mentioned to both Marin and Donovan, Grandmeister Pycelle blew up the shield generators.
I can't believe you're skipping an opportunity to nitpick already.
What am I nitpicking? And I'll see you in hell.
You nitpicked to me, leading, what is it? Leads a band of rebels.
Yeah. So the text crawl says that Luke Skywalker leads a band of rebels on Hoth. It's slight paraphrasing because I don't have the crawl in front of me. And you open it and he's some mid-level officer.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really funny, and then Donovan made the argument, well, he leads Rogue Squadron. I guess that's true, but...
He then immediately bails on Rogue Squadron.
Yeah.
Wedge Antilles, superior Rogue Squadron member. Yeah.
I love seeing him in visions.
Hobby. Rest in peace, my homie. You did well in Rebels, and you ate shit in Empire Strikes Back, my friend. And you didn't even kill General Veers. Oh, it's up in the air if you killed General Veers. I say you didn't kill General Veers.
The Battle of Hoth is, to me, still visually impressive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it holds up because the miniature work was damn good.
Fucking spectacular.
Yeah, I mean
there's a reason why I'm a big proponent of modern movies. Like, even if they do CG enhance them, I still think they should be looking at miniatures.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, these days, I'd argue it's cheaper to make miniatures than it used to be, because you can use computer-aided tools to
like
help
3D print shit.
actually model it, and then you can 3D print it.
Yep.
I just want to say there are parts of Hoth where I forget that these are miniatures.
No, absolutely.
Speaking of the Battle of Hoth, in the spirit of nitpicking, there are scenes in the airspeeder where you're looking at the control console where you can see the ground through the control console.
Uh-huh. I also noticed that the scene where Luke nosedives into the ground after his airspeeder's been damaged, he the speeder angles straight down from your in cockpit POV. Like, you're looking straight at the snow, and it looks like he hits it at almost a 90-degree angle. And then you see that it's normal and fine, and he gets out and whatever. But none of that diminishes my enjoyment for Hoth, or the rest of the movie for that matter, where it's in the words of Harrison Ford, it's not that kind of movie, where you're very clearly, realism is secondary to the story, and
I think
there's
the
a
Battle of
level
Hoth is my... Sorry, you first.
Go ahead. Okay. There's a level of suspension of disbelief within Star Wars that is just expertly done within the original trilogy, and then fans set rules for Star Wars, for example, lightsabers, and then they're no longer able to suspend their disbelief because of later properties going against the quote-unquote rules that Star Wars put in place, the ones that they didn't.
I made the joke in Return of the Jedi, but technically it applies in Empire Strikes Back as well, where it's when Luke pulls the lightsaber to him, that's the first time anybody moved anything with the Force, unless there's something in A New Hope that I completely missed. Up until
obvious, because we do have Vader choking a guy, but that's not overt.
Yeah, that's...
when he chokes the guy, he does throw him a little bit.
So that's kind of the only thing, right? But and then you just kind of throw this new ability on Luke. as well as a Force Ghost right away. And it's like I think if you would have done that today, people would have said, "What the fuck? The Force can't do that. That's not how the Force works."
Yeah.
And I just, this just has turned into I hate Star Wars fans, but
I do.
no, yeah.
Yeah.
General Views, my glup shitto. General Views is my glup shitto.
Based. I
Walter
think
Donovan.
overall. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I said Walter Donovan. As in the Indiana Jones character.
Of course.
Walter.
I think overall, the Battle of Hoth is probably my second favorite movie/TV battle.
Oh.
Really behind only Helm's Deep.
Ah, fuck yeah.
I can see that, yeah.
It's like as I've kind of discussed with my love of Maul and watching people fail, the Battle of Hoth kind of ticks those boxes. Because like everyone on the rebellion side of of the Battle of Hoth knows that they cannot win. They're just trying to buy time. That's the entire purpose of the battle. I love that. Losing battles, the hopelessness of fighting with just knowing you're going to die, so to give the chance for other people to escape. Love that shit.
It's really good character building because you see that Leia and Riken are like some of the last people in there. Han is one of the last people in there who's like, "I'm getting you to your fucking ship." When like 2 minutes ago he's like, "Yeah, we met this bounty hunter on Ord Mantell. We gotta Chewie and I gotta fuck off because I got a fucking $30 trillion bounty on my head by Jabba and I gotta go pay it off. Yeah, sorry. I know I'm a good fighter. Peace out. Also, Leia, I know you love me. You should have seen us in the South Passage." But then it's like, yeah, no, I'm still here. I'm seeing it through.
To be honest, the only reason Helm's Deep is above it for me is because the setting of Helm's Deep I like better. The circumstances around it, it's a far more, in the grand scheme of things, Helm's Deep meant more to Lord of the Rings than Hoth does to the original trilogy.
Right.
So the fact that the battle is just that much more important is big in my enjoyment of Helm's Deep over Hoth.
Helm's Deep is also way longer, so you get to see more cool shit. But
it's more cool shit, and it's consistent quality throughout too.
Length of the battle does not equal greatness. Just remember, length is not always good. This is a life lesson for you all at home, applicable to multiple subjects.
Not the allotted time, it's how you use it.
Look,
I don't need.
We're just gonna come out and say it. Fuck the Battle of Winterfell.
I say, do I need to actually spell out what battle I'm talking about? It currently holds the record for being the longest continuous on-screen battle. How does it do that? I don't know. Yeah. Helm's Deep was the record holder. Battle of Winterfell beat it. Which I don't know how this how that works, because there's this whole like 10-minute stealth section that isn't a battle at all. I don't care. I don't care. Grandmeister Pycelle has blown up the shield generators. The rebels have lost. His AT-AT has been decapitated by Star Wars rebels glup shitto. Vader calls Luke Skywalker in the very opening of this movie, which I think is really funny, because then they tell him later that Luke is the son of Anakin, and it's like in comics we have the explanation of like, oh yeah, Boba Fett went and found it out, But I like to imagine that George Lucas did it completely unintentionally when writing the movie. And he's just like, well, of course you know this guy's name. Would he put it together that it's Anakin Skywalker's son? And it's like in broader context, you're just like, you know anybody else named Skywalker in the galaxy? Like Christ.
Well,
There was at one point a
for all we
fake, but I think that was after Luke had kind of like come into the picture.
There was a what?
There was a guy who posed as Luke Skywalker that was not actually Luke Skywalker, and Vader went after him, only to find out that it wasn't actually Luke.
Well, yeah, but
I can't remember where in the timeline that is.
it would have had to have been after episode 4 at least.
Yeah.
Between
'Cause-
4 and 5.
Yeah, because nobody would have cared about Luke before that.
Yeah.
But no, I think the point still stands. Is that like it's this really funny thing where he offhandedly calls him Skywalker, and then you have a scene way later in the movie where you have the very oddly super high quality Emperor that they inserted in 2005, going, "Hey, there's a son of Anakin Skywalker." What? No way. Yeah, Darth Vader's a guy.
Look, for all we know, Skywalker could be like Smith or Johnson.
Yeah.
It could just be a really common last name. To do our 5th required Game of Thrones reference, it could be Tatooine's bastard name.
Yeah.
Tatooine's bastard name. He's like,
Honestly?
he pulls a Joffrey, kills all the bastards on Tatooine. And he's just like, yo, anybody with the name Skywalker, you're getting the fucking sauce. I'm sorry, little bro. Game of Thrones rebrand coming next week. No, I'm kidding.
Coming with the murder of Sonata in true Game of Thrones style.
Yeah.
I'm just letting this reference run its course.
The Hyperdrive Hours sends their regards. So then we have the illustrious, very long, drawn out Anoat hike, where they just kind of drift around for 45 minutes of my screen time in the Falcon because they can. Which raises me to my next question. What trash does an ISD inject that is ship-sized?
Simple.
A ship.
All of the carcasses of the stormtroopers, their commanding officers killed this.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I guess it's time for the characters to shine more than anything. Is the whole point of their a loop around, going in the big worm, going out of the big worm. We get a kiss.
I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I think this is the worst part of the movie. I'm not saying it's bad, but I think
100%
this
it's the worst part
segment,
of the movie.
it's the worst part of the movie.
I can't agree with that, to be honest.
You can or can't?
I can. CAN can.
Because it's just, it feels like, because like if I look at the Battle of Hoth and Bespin and Dagobah,
Yeah, it's
none of those, neither Dagobah or Bespin require this little hike through the asteroids to occur. We get character development, sure. We get these character moments where the characters and their skills can shine. But you could transplant this from Anoet Sector asteroids to the plains of Dantooine.
whoa.
and it wouldn't really change anything.
Nobody knows what Dantooine looks like yet, though. They don't know its planes. We only know its name.
I mean,
Or its name.
the hypothetical planes of Dantooine.
Go to find my Han Solo crystal.
Of course.
My fucking Leia right clicks her fucking rock or whatever, the Leia Skywalker Organa Solo fucking crystal. It's got all of her names. It's definitely one of the slowest, and it drags a little. I think it drags a
Actually,
little.
we do in fact know that Dantooine is planes. Fuck you.
Why?
It's on the canon page for Dantooine on Wikipedia.
No, I mean at the time when they were making the movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair.
we only knew the name.
Fair. My point is,
Yeah.
the entire chase scene basically didn't matter. It's in there as an action set piece leading up to the wonderful character moments and drama that we'll get in the third act.
Never
But
tell me the odds.
This entire second act is irrelevant.
But we get. Oh, I should make my mic with a ruler. Yeah. We get Dagobah. Dagobah is some of my favorite Star Wars. I like fucking coked up, high as shit Yoda.
I do too.
I think
Tatooine he is.
I think the Clone Wars context makes all of this interaction really weird, though, because it's like Luke's got like no forewarning as to what type of planet Dagobah is in. R2's just withholding it to be an asshole. R2 might literally be the shittiest person in the Star Wars galaxy for all the information that he just holds on to for no reason.
Yeah.
And then poor Luke, he gets there and he got this fucking Green Goblin motherfucker walking around stealing all your shit, fighting with your droid, and knowing that Clone Wars, they're probably like both just acting at that point, like they know each other. They're like, hey, let's pull a prank on this bitch, which I think makes it funnier. And then they get back to Yoda's hut, and it's like this really nice, like, you see him transition into actually being wise and being like serious, and it's really interesting. I like him much better than prequel Yoda. Prequel Yoda's a bitch. Although they're a bitch for making R2 sit out in the rain. That's my favorite part of that scene is the camera goes through extra effort to ensure that at first you get an outside shot of R2-D2 sitting outside in the rain looking through the window, and then inside you can see him looking through the window the entire time. It's like, yeah, we get it. You guys are an asshole to your droid. That's what he gets for letting me crash my X-Wing, I guess. No, Dagobah's great, though.
I love Dagobah.
I think my favorite little factoid about while they were filming the Dagobah scenes is that they kept losing track of reptiles.
Yeah.
And reptiles would just turn up in the most horrific places for some of the crew and actors. I think there's a story somewhere of one of the crew, one of the film crew, went to take a drink out of a cup they had on set while they were filming, and inside the cup, I think it was some type of lizard or something had just climbed into to get a drink, and he didn't realize the lizard was in the cup until he almost kissed the lizard.
All I'm saying is that it's lizards. They should have expected that.
Yeah. Lizzos. Sorry.
No, that's a Mandalorian.
Yeah, my head's Amanda season 3 apparently. He plays a track of their Lizzos. She just wanders off set. Alright. No, one of my biggest nitpicks is they cut the frame rate of the cave fight with fake Vader and Luke. They cut it in like half. It's running in like 12 frames. It looks like they were trying to do slow motion, but like forgot to stretch everything. Like, it was really weird. Um,
Yeah.
it's actually something that I noticed. I think Filoni tried to do in Rebels. There were a few times, and like especially the Grand Inquisitor, like the first time you see him, like ignites his lightsaber, and they run it in like almost slow motion. And it's really weird. It's actually really jarring, and I hate it. But yeah, like the entire fight is running like half the frames of the rest of the movie. I think that's what happened there because that's the only thing that like visually that makes sense. Uh, really weird choice. Go off, I guess. Uh, the I kind of it's a good like show don't tell example. I think of like here's this message. It's not that hard to interpret, but there is still something to interpret there about him going into the cave and seeing himself in the helmet. You know, poor little Mark Hamill poking his head out from the floor into the Vader mask. Um,
Yeah, it's that you should pay your actors more. That's the lesson.
yeah.
The true lesson of Malachor 5.
Um, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Because, like,
I
oh, go ahead, Marin.
no, you go for it.
Oh,
Uh,
Marin has opinions.
I'm gonna say, because, I mean, like, several times throughout the movie, they're like, oh, the dark side's bad, the dark side's bad, but it's like, I feel like just showing him his own face in the Darth Vader helmet is way more effective. And I like that. But go ahead, man.
No, I was just gonna say I love Cloud City. I love myself some good old Lando Calrissian.
No, sorry, we can't talk about Lando. George Lucas made Star Wars woke. Sorry.
Yeah. Unironically, Lando
Yeah,
is one of my favorite characters in all of Star Wars.
Shout out to Billy D.
Yes. What a legend. Love that man. At least in that role.
you sound like you'd call him Han.
I
And
I can start just to piss you off.
Don't worry, I'll just server mute you again.
I'll do it.
And moving away from the OG trilogy, so you fucks don't lose your piss over it.
Copium.
I think that Donald Glover does a really good job of playing Lando Calrissian in Solo as well.
The old childish Gambino.
Yeah.
He did do a pretty good Lando.
Yeah. Good old Prowler.
Yeah, for 2 seconds.
Yeah. I love all of the scenes on Bespin and in Cloud City. I like Chewie being so distressed over 3PO.
Hey,
Just like,
alright.
oh my god.
My turn to nitpick again. Why did C-3PO fucking explode when they shot him? Why, like,
What I like to interpret it as is that like they tried their best to destroy him completely to avoid him like being repaired in case he like exposed what happened, like in case he exposed like the trap too early.
yeah, but there's
That's how
like,
I've always
He took
interpreted it.
one shot and then
yeah, it's
exploded.
one shot and exploded.
So my
I
cat
believe the
has
point
joined
I
us.
raised to you, Justice, was he did just kind of tip over and lose an arm back on in the previous movie. during the
yeah.
Tusken Raider fight.
He's a fragile little boy, I guess. I don't know.
Until the next movie, yeah.
Yeah. When Jabba the Hutt gives him a fucking bitch slap, they
And
repaired
he
him.
just comes back and he's just got a little bit of green paint on his forehead.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that all of a sudden made me think of the '03 Clone Wars randomly whenever the 3PO like took off the cloak and it's like this
And-
rock
and it's-
music.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Hey, you
Anyways.
ever wanted to see C-3PO strip? Just
I fucking
watch
do.
that part of 03 Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Watch that part of 03 Clone Wars.
I don't. Why did they have to? We're not talking about '03 Clone Wars. We're talking about the trilogy.
And
Yeah,
Bespin has a fun lightsaber duel.
it does.
That it does. It also
It
has
has. Go
one
for
of
it.
like the funnier. Like so many people have made jokes about this, and it always gets a smile out of me. Vader went through all that effort to cook them such a nice dinner, and the first thing they thought of to do was shoot him.
Also, don't you
Ditto.
enjoy when you're falling down a reactor shaft and you just take a right turn?
Shut up! You're getting ahead of my nitpick. You're getting ahead. We got a lightsaber duel to talk about. A cool lightsaber duel that ends with probably the most iconic twist in all of film history.
Oh, fuck yeah.
That
One that
also
was-
would not have
100%.
survived today.
One that was so closely protected that a grand total
of
of
three people knew
three
it.
people knew about
Kirshner,
it until-
Lucas, and Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
And I guess eventually James Earl Jones would have had to know it, but
Yeah.
Fun fact, during the filming, David Prowse said Obi-Wan killed your father.
yep.
Mhm. There's something about that moment that I don't know. It still just like fucking shocks my soul because the only other twist that I can think of that has become such a cultural zeitgeist, that has become such a just synonymous with like plot twists in general. The only one I can think of is Oedipus, dead ass. And even so, I mean, that was whole ass prophecy, and that's quite literally thousands of years old.
Yes, I don't know that I put Oedipus and a film twist in the same category, but
To me, that's like the importance of "I am your father" in terms of like pop culture. Honestly, probably has surpassed um Oedipus Rex, the twist in Oedipus Rex that it's his family that he all that shit.
It's also reduced in what? Or it's also reduced. Fucking hell, Sonata. It's also produced one of the most fascinating examples of the Mandela effect, at least in my opinion, because so many people think Vader said, "Luke, I am your father."
He says, "No, I am your."
okay. I've seen clips of like original film audience reactions in 80 when it came out though, and in the theater he says, "No, Luke, I am your father." I think there was a change somewhere along the way between either like home release or between like theatrical and home release that might have changed that line.
There's been 80 billion different releases.
I don't even think it's
all of the
it's like
original
a
trilogy.
special edition. Oh god, I haven't even thought about those fucking changes besides the Emperor Palpatine one I mentioned.
McClunky.
McClunky. I love McClunky. Just
My
such a pointless
boy.
line. I was thinking about Han clipping through Jabba the Hutt in A New Hope because Donovan and I talked
Yeah.
about it. You're a wonderful human being, Jabba. You are none of those things. But no,
He's not being.
it's such a nothing. No, I think if we're talking about like interesting twists and subversions, there is one other pop culture event that like pop culture scene that I can think of. And we're going for Game of Thrones reference. The only thing that comes close is the Red Wedding. Vader by far surpasses it, but the Red Wedding is one of those TV moments that I think will kind of be talked about for a long time. Just utter twist if you hadn't read the books. Star Wars doesn't have those people that can say, "Oh, well, you," or didn't at the time, like, "Oh, well, you would have known this if you read the books," which I think it's great. That twist for the first time. Yeah, I think if you do it today, though, people would just get angry because they'd say there's no setup for it.
Yeah.
Because really all the setup is them in episode 6 retroactively saying, "Oh well, it was the truth from a certain point of view," which I think even I'd be guilty of judging that a little. Like I think I'd be kind of frustrated if something that I was really engaged with. They dropped a line and it's like all your theories, or I don't know about theories, but like all of your beliefs were kind of just retconned by Obi-Wan being a bit of a dickhead. Yeah, I lied to you about your fucking dad, but it was true from a certain point of view because Anakin and Darth Vader are not the same. Like he's just a pretentious Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
And we didn't even talk about the kiss. We're in Empire Strikes Back, and we didn't talk about them kissing.
Yeah.
Can we
I
not?
don't want to.
See, this is why sometimes being the architect style of writer is better than being the gardener, because sometimes when you're the gardener, you do things, then you decide you want to like do other things with your plot. You get these awkward situations where you have characters kissing their sisters. That's why.
To be fair, it was Leia kissing her brother. I mean, she was the
It doesn't make it
instigator.
any better, Sonata.
Let's be at least correct in this, even though I don't want to talk about it.
I think it's a two-way kiss. I think he was into it.
Yeah, because Luke looks real proud of himself after.
It's a two-way kiss.
What the fuck were you thinking, George?
He wasn't.
Exactly.
See, this is why you do the other George strat, where you just make the incest intentional.
Luke Skywalker Targaryen.
I was thinking Luke Skywalker Lannister.
I mean, Luke too also, like, generally pays his debts.
I'm trying to think. It's hard to talk about the original trilogy because I feel like everything about the original trilogy has already been said. It's hard to add new pieces of information to the conversation.
Alright.
Whose idea was this?
Sonata. And then I just picked the trilogy because either of the other trilogies I probably would have shit-talked way more than I'm shit-talking this one. I'm shit-talking this one for the bit, despite loving it.
Fair.
Now, we've talked about Vader. We can talk about Luke fucking falling down the ventilation shaft and then just doing a fucking 90-degree rotation into one of the offshoots. That would get eaten alive today.
That's how Maul survived.
The easy explanation is, of course, he just force pushed himself into that tunnel. However, The last time we saw, the most recent time we've seen someone force pushing themselves through an area, in media, uh, that didn't go well. That was frowned upon.
Are we talking about Superman? Leia?
Leia.
Yeah. I don't care. You can say that the ventilation system, was expelling, so it, sucked them into it and shot them out. I don't care. I don't care that much. You can find 1,000 things to justify it. But with Star Wars fans, you can have a million things done in the movie to justify something, and it'll never be enough these days. So that's why I think it's funny to nitpick. Like it wouldn't survive. You can have all the explanations you want, but you look at character moments like Rey flying the Falcon, and people go, "How would she be able to?" Even though in the movie she said that she's flown ships before. And now that we're on the subject of Mary Sue, we're going to episode 6. I've helmed this. We're going to episode 6 to talk about whatever the fuck goes on in Jabba's palace. Because
Little size noodles.
We
Fucking-
gotta.
boy.
We gotta talk about this plan.
all right. Breaking out the flow chart here. And by breaking
Not
out the flow chart, I mean I need to turn on a light so I can second
So you
light
can make the flowchart.
so I can
When
make
you
the
break
flow
out
chart.
the flow chart, I'm gonna go in the bathroom. I'll
That's
be
a
right back.
picture of myself printed out. Cool.
Gross, you can't say that on camera.
Hey,
You can't say that on recording.
man, that's against YouTube TOS.
And
So. How does this plan start? Lando.
it starts with
Lando.
Lando.
Lando must be. I'm doing this on one of the giant chisel tip Sharpies for some reason.
Because why not?
Hired by Jabba. Alright, so that's part 1. What was next? Was next Chewie? No, next is the droids.
Next is the droids. The
Um,
very easily refusable gift of droids.
Jabba must accept droids.
Also
Addendum.
note that Luke
R-
gave R2 the lightsaber.
Yes. R2 has lightsaber. Must be in position.
And
Then next is the Ubis and Chewbacca.
Yep.
Yes.
Leia's disguise must hold, and Jabba barter. Because this whole fucking thermal detonator plan was crazy. I don't know. And then Luke Skywalker shows up.
Comes in unarmed, threatens Jabba.
Force chokes
Luke-
on the way in.
Show 2 of them.
Two of
Shows
them.
up.
Bro.
Must be captured. And we can infer that he wants to be captured because he doesn't bring his weapon in, and R2's nowhere in the throne room to deploy it to him. Although, he does this interesting decision where he tries to steal a gun and shoot his way out. He thought he'd try mixing things up, I guess. And so then he gets dropped into the Rancor pit, which we don't even know if he knew was there. So that's a huge wrench in this plan that he dumb shit follows his, he just gets out of it somehow. And then they get captured.
And then was the entire goal for them all to be taken to the Sarlacc pit?
I
Because it's
guess
entirely
so?
possible that some of them... He didn't have to bring... Jabba
Jabba
didn't have to bring Chewie.
must execute all via Sarlacc, must bring Lando Guard.
Like, there's so many... Like, obviously it works because Star Wars and
Yeah.
the Force. But there are so many points of failure in this plan that literally could have been... Because the entire goal is to negotiate or assassinate Jabba. They could have just broke down the door.
Must kill Boba Fett.
Booby feet?
Which, this is kind of a caveat, because when writing the movie, Boba Fett wasn't that big of a deal. But, in universe, given the reputation of Boba Fett, dude is the most... he's the best bounty hunter of all. They gotta kill him if this plan is to go off.
Yeah.
Did Luke really think he could take Boba in a fight? Like, I mean, I guess he could have, because he fucking does. I mean, he kind of did win that fight for the moment that it happened before he jetted off to the other barge.
We talking about Bubba Feet?
We're talking about the flowchart. Yeah, and then Leia must free herself?
Question mark.
Yeah.
There's also the fact that we don't know where the plan starts and where... Like, oh, my bad. We know where the plan starts, but we don't know where the plan stops and where things start to go wrong. Because in fairness, it's entirely possible that Leia being found out and captured was not part of the plan. However,
but then what's the point of...
Then it all keeps
of
going.
Luke?
Yeah. Luke's fucking Zinch out here, just making plans within plans.
I mean, if it works.
Or R2 must free her? Because he kind of does.
Yeah, he breaks the chain.
Was R2 going to kill Jabba the Hutt?
Yes.
I mean,
that is within his wheelhouse.
But it's not. He doesn't have any guns on him. You think they'd give him some fucking guns for this plan and just let him go apeshit? He doesn't even have his jets.
That is true. They haven't T3'd him yet.
I haven't T3'd him yet. Alright, so...
You gotta post this flowchart, my man.
This beautiful flowchart.
All must escape... It's not much of a flowchart. It's really just me writing these lines. All must escape explosion.
Somehow.
Yeah. Alright. So, we start with... The plan starts with Lando has to be hired by Jabba. Which... What if he wasn't? Why the fuck would... He's like one of two human guys on Jabba's staff. Lando, I feel like, is also like a semi-recognizable face, especially in the underworld. That's a ballsy plan.
Now, to be fair, it is entirely possible that Lando just got his hands on a uniform after infiltrating the place.
Yeah, but he's there for like days, maybe even weeks. That's a really long time to keep up a charade and nobody recognize you. Or nobody be like, "Hey, I've never seen you around before. Jabba didn't hire you."
Cough, cough, Ezra on the Chimera. Cough, cough.
So, then, Jabba must accept the droids that Luke gifted to him. What if they had turned him away at the door? What if they'd turned him away when actually meeting with Jabba? And this has the caveat that R2 was given the lightsaber. Therefore, R2 must also be in a position at some point in this plan to give the lightsaber to Luke.
So what's the backup here? Is it R2 just driving out to the Sarlacc pit?
Yeah, what happens if R2 is not brought with them? Because Jabba has no issue torturing droids. I don't even know how droid torture works. I was talking to Donovan about this. I don't know how droid torture. How do you torture a droid? What does red hot heating pads against their feet do? They're a fucking construct. They don't feel anything. They don't like. They don't have nerves. Anyways, that's like such a minor nitpick because it's just stupid. Like I don't actually care. The next thing is that Leia's disguise as Bausch must hold the entire time, which it doesn't. Which maybe it doesn't actually have to hold, but it has to hold for the barter, for them to give up Chewbacca. Why do they need to give up Chewbacca? Other than for him to be there? I don't know.
Also,
I don't know.
What's the point of 3PO being there at all?
Literally so Luke can show up and threaten him.
Yeah. That's literally the only... They're putting him in danger. They're putting Chewie and 3PO in danger for only
for Luke's ego.
At best.
For Luke's ego. Because Luke shows up, and this plan hinges on him being captured because he shows up unarmed. And he just threatens the shit out of Jabba the entire time. Unarmed, by the way. He cannot back up any of his threats currently, which is really fucking stupid. But I mean, I guess it works because it gets him captured. But the way he gets captured is by falling into the Rancor pit after grabbing a gun in self-defense, which very much seems like he didn't intend to be captured. Maybe he's just selling the bit. I don't know. Luke Skywalker never seemed like that deceptive of a person. But so he falls into the Rancor pit. It kills the Rancor out of kind of just sheer desperation and dumb luck, and or I guess, the Force is with him. But like, then is captured because the Rancor's dead. All right, so this brings us to our next part of the plan, where everybody must be executed by the Sarlacc. They could have just been firing squatted out in the fucking front yard. What the fuck am I trying to say? Out in the front yard. I was gonna say front lawn and yard at the same time. It just came out as lard. Which Jabba is lard. So they must all be executed via the Sarlacc. They all have to go out there. He must bring Lando guard, which is what I've just called Lando in this scenario. He must bring Lando. 3PO makes sense to be in this position. He's the translator. R2, as we kind of talked about earlier in the plan, it's up in the air if he gets brought. And then this kind of hinges on the entire fight. They have to kill Boba Fett, because Boba Fett will fucking rain on their parade because they have a chained up girl in a slave bikini. They have one ill-trained Jedi Knight, a blind guy, a Wookiee, and a dude who has cool capes who doesn't currently have a cool cape. And they have to fight Boba Fett, the best bounty hunter in the galaxy.
No capes.
That seems like a real fucking gambit. So assuming that's why you're never told them.
Yeah.
Because if you heard the odds of this fucking plan, it's a GG. So then we go from must kill Boba Fett to Leia essentially has to get out herself, or with R2-D2's help. Which, okay. Sure. Maybe R2-D2 can fuck some people up. R2-D2 does cut the chain that she was held with, but Leia kills Jabba. Like that's what happens there. She's the only one on the sail barge besides the two droids, until Luke fucking jumps over there and then doesn't really do anything to help free her because she's a very capable woman. But it's this weird, like, she's chained up and she gotta free herself. And then finally they all must escape the explosion. Which apparently you don't have to escape the explosion. Max Rebo didn't, yet he did. But thank the god those fucking little skiffs had magnets on the bottom of them to pick up the droids. This plan,
part of the plan.
is the most convoluted thing ever, when the only hitch that I can think of in the plan of just storm the front gates is Boba Fett, who is also a hitch in the plan either way and is just defeated on sheer dumb luck. I understand the Force is your ally mindset. The Death Sticks were also the ally here in this fucking plan. By sheer complexity and stupidity, Luke Skywalker has bamboozled Jabba the Hutt. And Jabba the Hutt is dead. This isn't the only stupid plan in the movie either. So, they get everybody back to Rebel Fleet Comm. And they're like, hey, we're gonna go blow up the Death Star. By the way, you remember how everybody was kind of like, man, those 400,000 Star Destroyers that Palpatine had in Rise of Skywalker were out of left field? The Death Star is also very out of left field and nobody cares.
Yeah, that's true.
Both of them are.
Yeah, well, the one in the first movie is like, I mean, that's
had to be out of left field. There's no
there's
other field for it to be from.
So they all board up on the. First off, I think it's incredibly risky to put Han, Leia, and Luke all in the same cockpit on the same mission. Same mission, fine. But they are three, like, very important alliance members for varying reasons. What would have happened if they would have shot down the shuttle Tidarium? You'd have lost the last Jedi, the last Alderaanian, and one of your best pilots and, you know, General Fleet Command, fucking dumbass, brave idiot. They're all kind of important. But anyways, that's like such a minor nitpick. Vader lets them go and fly by the Executor because he'll deal with them on the surface. He could have captured the shuttle, captured Luke, killed everybody else in it, and they have Skywalker, and they've stopped their threat, and the rebel fleet still would have shown up and been destroyed.
Yep. And they would have still had time for their evening tea.
Why the Emperor is a fucking dipshit. Why
I
let
think
him
this
go
is
to the
Vader as a
surface?
fucking dipshit.
No, this is the Emperor, because this is all as I've foreseen. He will come to you on the forest moon, and you will bring him to me. And it's like, who writes these plans? Who? Is this what the Force does to you?
I think the Force removes your common sense.
That might be the
Can
tagline for Star Wars. All of Palpatine's plans are like this. Too. The prequel trilogy is like his plan to wipe out the Jedi is like as convoluted as this Tatooine plan. And it's like it gets nearly foiled 10,000 times. I love this movie, by the way. Return of the Jedi is my favorite movie. I think of just any movie. I think it might, but if you want to nitpick movies, I can do it. I can do it with any of them. Just because it came from Disney doesn't mean that that's like the only grounds for nitpicking. 1983, Star Wars was still fucking goofy and nonsensical.
Anyway.
I do, like I said though, I do want to see your flowchart just to see how absurd this is and right.
But
2 days to do it myself.
Vietnam allegory, go hard. Feel free to screenshot. Except the Vietnamese are teddy bears. I don't know if there's some like racial commentary that is like kind of fucked up that I should be aware about that I don't know. Knowing George Lucas, it is probably racist in some way, but
yeah, I'm not exactly certain either. But yeah.
But no, I think I could get why people in the 80s would kind of hate the Ewoks just taking out stormtroopers. I do think it's funny that the Emperor calls his stormtroopers the he's like, yeah, the my finest troops or whatever he says. Legion of my best troops. And it's like, damn, these guys are losing to some Build-A-Bear motherfuckers. Like, come on. But it's great because I think it's in theme with Star Wars. Of it's the rebellion is the friends we made along the way.
Also,
even if
will always triumph over evil. That's the real.
Even if those friends tried to eat us like 20 minutes ago. And this movie also has my favorite lightsaber duel. Just because I think the emotion of a sword fight is just as important as the actual choreography. And this is such a good one, in the way the fight ends with the saber being tossed away. The scene that we should not do these so late anymore. Fuck you, man.
I'm sorry.
The scene that Sonata showed up for, he showed up right in the middle of, I'm a Jedi, like my father before me. It's probably one of my favorite movie scenes.
Yeah, like I said when after that scene had taken a pause, I don't talk during that scene no matter the circumstances.
Alright, I have talked for way too many minutes straight. Somebody else give me thoughts on Return of the Jedi.
I can go, or Sonata. Sonata, you go.
I just wanted to bring something up that I only recently learned. During this lightsaber duel, for this whole sequence, there's a goof in it that once it was pointed out to me, I cannot unsee. So, you'll remember at some point the duel takes a pause and Vader is just walking underneath the catwalks, hunting down Luke, right?
Yeah.
So for I believe one shot of that, Vader has Luke's lightsaber on his belt.
That doesn't surprise me. Do you know how many times hilt swaps like that happen in Star Wars, though? There's like 2 separate instances of it in Revenge of the Sith.
The thing is that like Vader has his lightsaber out, but
Yeah.
Luke's is on his hip. So that's just an interesting little like blooper that I know is because there was a cut moment in that duel where Luke was going to just toss his saber to Vader in like a further refusal of "I will not fight you," and that's why the hilt ended up on his belt. But that scene got cut, so there's no explanation for why Vader has Luke's lightsaber for that one moment, and then in the next, Luke has it again.
Yeah, I mean, there are several shots in Palpatine's office in Episode 3 where he's carrying Anakin's, all because of similarly cut scenes where Anakin was going to show up way earlier in the fight and was actually going to throw Palpatine his lightsaber. And you can see that in his hand, in certain shots, is Anakin's hilt. Similarly, in the Mustafar fight, Anakin and Obi-Wan switch hilts for a moment because there was supposed to be a scene in the fight where they switch hilts. So Star Wars is no stranger to this. Again, which is why I find it so funny that people nitpick really simple fight choreography issues in the sequels, like the disappearing knife in The Last Jedi. If that would have happened in if it would have happened in Revenge of the Sith or Return of the Jedi, nobody would have cared. But no, that's a tidbit that makes sense. Doesn't surprise me. I don't know if I've ever noticed.
It's difficult to notice, to be fair, unless you're like looking for it. Because, like I said, I've seen Return of the Jedi too many times.
Yeah.
And I never noticed it until someone pointed it out to me.
And then the Death Star blowed up. They partied with the meat-eating teddy bears.
Yum.
A little thing about the whole Space Battle of Endor thing. I sometimes have to remind myself that none of that is CG.
Yeah.
That is all miniatures, and it's fucking amazing what they were able to accomplish in those days. Also, the Celestin. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Sorry?
Nine Nub.
He's speaking a real language on planet Earth.
So are the Ewoks.
So are most people.
So like my favorite tidbit about that character though is that in the specific region where that language is spoken, the reaction they got out of the theater was just people cracking up that this random alien could just speak their language flawlessly among all the other people. I just always found that story funny. I don't remember what language it was or what part of the world outside of it was somewhere in Africa, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, typically it's weird African languages, and I use weird
It
as
is.
in significantly
It is very.
different from Western.
It is very often. This is just something that happens in fiction a lot. Is they use very languages that are spoken either very minimally or languages that are dying, and they just kind of put them into whatever media they see fit. There are good and bad things about that.
Oh yeah.
A topic that I won't get into now. Be careful with the niche languages that you use, and make sure you're pronouncing things right, please, for those who are writing out there.
Yeah, Sonata.
Yeah, Sonata.
Damn it, Sonata.
How dare you not pronounce Mandoa correctly when you speak it? Marin's very upset with you over that.
I am I'm seething, Sonata. Can't you tell?
Hoping,
Oh, back to the
mauling
point that I
even.
wanted to. Yeah, I wanted to say this earlier. I went to go see Return of the Jedi in theaters again for the 40th anniversary. Um,
Yep.
I went to yeah, I went to go see it with my dad, and being in the energy of the theater, God, I wish I could have seen every Star Wars movie in theaters after that. Because like obviously I saw the new trilogy, Rogue One and Solo in theaters, but seeing Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader battle on the big screen, I was in tears. I was like, holy shit, this is the coolest fucking thing ever. It almost made it beat out Empire Strikes Back for me, but I think that's just banking on the experience of seeing that in the theater.
Theater
It was just
experiences
really
are a theater definitely alters the perception of a movie. It's why, like,
1000%.
for instance, Avengers Endgame is like it's such just an okay movie, but seeing it in theaters was really cool because it's like, damn, this is like 10 years of 10, 15.
Build up.
It was about 10 years of
Yeah.
build up, and it checked all the boxes. I got to see fucking Captain America wield Mjolnir.
Mm,
I mean, that was the only thing I cared about.
would've been
Like shit like that though. So movie theaters, and I think that if they opt to do that with any other Star Wars projects, it's definitely an encouragement to go out. I didn't get to do it for it because I wasn't driving to find a theater that was actually doing Return of the Jedi. But yeah, it definitely be interesting. Although um we're getting to a point now though where it's like there are plenty of people that are Star Wars fans that never. I mean, there are plenty of Star Wars fans who are having kids, and neither of those generations were able to see Star Wars in theaters.
yeah.
Like my um, Return of the Jedi is just barely younger than my mom is. So, uh, even if like her parents dragged her as a wee little baby to the theater, it's not like you can actually say you went to the
Actually
theaters to see Return of
comprehended
the
what
Jedi.
that,
Yeah, that's my little bit of personal it's like a really interesting thing to put in perspective. Is like I'm a fan of a franchise so old that like my mom wasn't alive when it came out.
Yeah,
Um,
like it was a big deal for me to go. I went specifically with my dad because 40 years prior, he had gone to see it with his dad
yeah,
whenever it first came out. About 40 years.
yeah.
Crazy. That is more than double my life. A little
Anniversaries
bit
are just something that are generally scary. Halo
more.
is 22. The Xbox is 22 today. Tomorrow,
Really?
A Clash of Kings turns 25. Marin.
Oh my god.
Um, still waiting for that book series to finish.
It never will. I promise you.
it never will.
Oh, don't remind me. But no, it's just the general like you realize just how long it's been. Like the fact that it's been what 3.5 years since Clone Wars was revived and ended already.
Yeah.
It's been
Fuck.
4.5
What
since Avengers Endgame, and that other battle that happened that weekend in a certain uh, fantasy show that we mentioned way too much on this podcast.
God. Force Awakens came out in 20.
15.
Yeah,
15. Yeah.
that's almost 10 years old now.
Yeah. You give it another 2
Oh.
years.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yep. So
Oh,
even if you're not old, you'll feel
yeah.
old.
Yeah, I'm not old at all. I'm a wee little babe. I'm younger than everybody else in this call, but like thinking back to the fact that I was sitting in the movie theaters watching Force Awakens for the first time in 2015, and that movie is almost 10 years old, is bonkers to me.
Yep.
Don't worry, it only gets worse from there.
Yep.
And
Let me tell you something. It's weird to
No.
me that.
I will not let you.
Okay, fair enough.
Proceed.
It's weird to me that when I sat down in the theater to watch The Force Awakens, I had very vague memories of seeing Episode 3 in the theater. Because I was like 7 when that happened. And
Yep. Now you know what year Sonata was born. For all of you listening at home.
yeah, I was born in 98. Anyway,
oh, sorry.
OS. Old people.
the realization that came to me not too long ago of in just over a year, I will have reached the point where if there were a new Star Wars film for me to watch in a movie theater in 2025, I would have more memories. Like, I would have a better recollection of seeing a Star Wars film in theaters 10 years ago than I would have had the prior film. Because, like, I just... Time is weird, man. Time travels too quickly.
It only gets worse as you get older, too. It only goes faster.
Yeah,
There's a great...
Can we just hurry up with either that carbonite freezing or that immortality serum or whatever?
No.
Yeah.
Look, all
There
I'm
was some-
saying...
I don't want to live now, let alone live forever.
You first, Mary.
No, there was something that somebody said to me once, if y'all don't mind me waxing poetical for a moment.
Yes.
As you grow older, every year of your life is a lesser percentage. When you're 19, 1 year is a whole 19th of your life. When you're 30, 1 year is a 30th of your life. And so that's simple math. It makes sense, but it's crazy to think about.
Not to mention depressing.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is
Anyways,
this
can
is
we
what
start talking about Star Wars again?
I was gonna say. This is what Return of the Jedi makes me feel like. Return of the Jedi's ending is
Yeah.
really nostalgic for something that like I never saw in theaters myself, and like
Mm.
I only remember watching the original 6 Star Wars movies. Like I don't know which one I started with. I can't say for sure. I am older than confirmed older than 3. Hold on. I have to look up when
did
when-
episode 3 come out?
05.
2005.
I have to look up
Episode
when
2 was 2002,
okay.
and
Yeah, I am older than Attack of the Clones. I had to look up what day it came out.
I came out in 04, and then
the way they phrase that.
I came out in
And-
04.
Man, I
and then the
definitely
next
think it
movie came
was
out
it was a lot later than 04 when you came out.
No, I think it was actually
is it-
around
is it-
2017 when I came out.
Does
Then
anyone
I
have the
was
gift
immediately
receipt for
denied.
Marin?
The gift receipt from
Yeah, 'cause
Marin.
clearly Marin got pre-ordered and we need to return them.
Yeah, it's like for all the people that pre-ordered Cyberpunk, I came out as a disappointment. Sorry.
I don't think there was any need to come out as a disappointment. I think you were one from the beginning and everyone knew it.
Yeah.
Damn.
My expectations
That's
did not
I mean
exceed any.
that's what your parents hear when you come out. It's just I came out. Sorry, that's kind of real. Sorry. Back to Star Wars.
But
much
Justice is
more do we-
totally right. Thinking about the end of Return of the Jedi makes me feel very nostalgic, even though I never actually had the context to be nostalgic with it.
Yeah, like Sonata and I were talking about it because Sonata was there for like the last 15 minutes of the movie. If they would have just ended the entire franchise there, never done anything after that point, it would have been a-okay by me.
Oh,
Said the same on the podcast in the past.
Yeah.
I would be completely content if that was the end of the Star Wars timeline, period.
1000%. And I grew up watching. I grew up not realizing that episodes 1, 2, and 3 were prequels until I was way too old.
Wait, are you telling me you thought that like chronologically they came after episode 6?
I grew up not realizing that episode 1, 2, and 3 were released
Oh.
Oh, okay.
for 5 and 6.
That makes more sense. That makes
The way
more sense.
the way you phrased that made it sound like you thought that like in universe chronology wise 1, 2, and
No, no,
3
no.
came after
No, no, no.
episode 6.
Everybody
No, I know what
No.
you're saying.
Just has Benjamin Button syndrome.
No, I grew up watching the movies in timeline order, and I didn't realize that episodes 4, 5,
Yeah.
and 6 came out before 1, 2, and 3. But even still, with having that entire story, that
Oh no,
2/3 of the Skywalker saga, episodes 4, 5, and 6 could have just been 1, 2, and 3, and my life would have been fine.
I don't think that's what Sonata is saying, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that they don't do anything after episode 6 in terms of in-universe chronology.
Yeah.
Nothing. They just cut it off there. They only do the things. And I don't hate the sequel trilogy, and I think I've made that
Yeah.
abundantly clear in the episodes that we've done, is I will defend it harder than most. I mean, my fucking
Yeah.
nitpicks of these movies kind of prove that, you know, and it's all in good fun, but like I don't hate, but I will say episode 9, I don't even hate the ending of episode 9, but it does end in the exact same spot, and so it kind of feels like you really could have just left it there, that really high note of Luke looking
Yeah.
upon the Force ghosts, and you know that final shot of all the heroes together celebrating, and
Yeah,
called
the
it.
big old bye. Yeah.
Because
Yep.
it's just such a cathartic ending. Because it really is, you know, such an interesting triumph of good. Because it's not Luke who does it, you know, it's not directly anyways. I mean, he appeals to Vader, but Vader is the one who saves the day.
Yeah.
And you know, Luke does no heroic killing blow. He's on the ground writhing in agony for the defeat of the Emperor. That's
I
great.
think any one of us would be if we got hit with Force lightning.
I don't know. I'm just built different.
I think that just means that you're into it.
Oh, I'd be on the ground in a different way. Got it.
Ah, yes. More daddy.
So,
Yeah,
so
that's
somebody
No.
call.
Okay, that's enough out of Sonata.
I think
That's,
we can end the episode now, guys.
Yeah. So homework for you all at home between now and next episode is to watch Return of the Jedi every day.
Yes. Every
You
day
better hope.
for the next 16 weeks. Because you don't know when we're releasing another episode, and we don't know when we're releasing
Yeah.
another episode.
You better hope that that we can stay to our schedule that we never stay to.
I'm sorry,
This-
I got a job.
Has been the Hyperdrive Hour. Goodbye. Love you. See you.
Later.
See you next time.
Smooches. Big old
Mwah.
smooches.